What's up, guys? Mower Medic 1 here. Are y'all sick of these little 4 mixes yet? I am, but not really. This unit came in for a broken clutch spring, but I found some other stuff wrong with it that needs to be addressed before it leaves the shop. Now, I'm gonna crank this thing up on the bench with no clutch drum turning, no clutch engaging. Just, I'm gonna crank it up and let it idle. And this thing just screams with the throttle being all the way closed. Just listen to the way it's idling. How that thing is running without no throttle action. Let me show you what's wrong with this thing. Yeah, this carburetor is leaking gas and is probably going to need to be replaced, but that's the least of my worries right now. Whenever a 2-stroke engine will not idle down, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be a vacuum leak. Now I'm going to zoom in where the carburetor plate meets the engine block and watch whenever I put a little pressure on the air filter. See that? The intake manifold gasket, or the intake manifold itself, is actually loose on the engine block, and it's sucking air right there. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the carburetor. Man, this thing is filthy, but hey, look guys, I found the source of the fuel leak. Also probably contributing to the not running very good. We got a split in the fuel line right at the fuel inlet on this carburetor. It's probably not just pouring out, but it was definitely sucking air right there. Now I went ahead and slid the carburetor off, and we can see better now that that manifold is loose. At this point, I would not just tighten these bolts up because the gasket is probably compromised. We need to remove the intake manifold and inspect the gasket surface and the gasket itself. Remove the intake manifold, and then we can inspect the surface of the intake on the head here. That looks good and clean. And if we take a good look here at the intake gasket, we can tell that it's been compromised, as pieces and chunks of it are missing. This is definitely an air leak right here. Just take you a razor blade and scrape off all the old gasket. All right, the part number for the intake manifold gasket is 4180 129 0900. Now, before I go back on here with the intake manifold and new gasket, I'm going to make sure that our holes are clean. Just sprayed carb cleaner all over my camera, and that's not good. Just a dab of blue on your threads here. And let's just walk your screws home a little bit at a time. And once you get there, just torque them down. They don't have to be Superman tight, just get them snug. Well, I kind of jumped the gun. Anybody want to tell me what I just did wrong there? I'll wait. Catch you in a second. Replace that fuel line that was compromised. Slide on you a new carburetor gasket. Anybody figured out what I did wrong yet? Alrighty, so we're gonna slide the carburetor back on. Making sure your pulse nipple goes onto the rubber hose coming out of the intake. And then we'll just hook up our fuel lines. At this point, you could go ahead and change your fuel filter, which I've already done. And let's just prime it up, see if we can pull that fuel up through there. And then lastly, we'll slide on our air filter. Since the clutch shoes were actually worn out pretty bad, I just opted to put a new one on with a new clutch spring. Comes as a kit. That clutch kit number is 4180-162,000. Now we're just going to slide the power head back onto the clutch housing. Alrighty guys, we got the little old Stihl 4 mix going one more time. That thing idles pretty dadgum good now. So if guys, if you have a 4 mix or even a 2-cycle that just won't idle down, you need to do a crankcase pressure and vacuum test and find that air leak. Air leaks will run you ragged in diagnosing these things. That's the main thing that you need to do, is do a pressure and vacuum test and find those leaks. You can throw carburetors at these all day long and it won't fix it, I promise you. But anyway guys, hey, if this content helps you out, give me a thumbs up and smash that subscribe button. And while you're there, go ahead and click the bell to get all my new videos. Y'all have a good rest of your day. More Minix One.